regular meeting of the Maine Township Board meeting. And I think we should, at this time, say the Pledge of Allegiance. We haven't done it. Okay.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know that we do have some homeless assistance. These checks, most of them have gone out to the recipients already, but there are some still here. So I'm going to pass these around to the board members who don't have much time to review them. Right, just review them. Okay, good. You want to send them down there?
Can we do a roll call?
Yes.
Assessor Cry?
Yes.
Here.
I'm sorry.
Highway Commissioner Bouvet. Clerk Gielon is here. Supervisor Diamond.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Horvath.
Here.
Trustee Maher.
I am here.
And Trustee Malik.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. All right, we'll start out with our agenda. A motion to approve the minutes of December 28th, 2023, our regular board meeting in December. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting December 28th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments about that? All right, roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes?
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
All right. Now, I don't know if you're ready, but if I can have a motion for the approval of the general assistance expenditures. If you're not ready, we can skip it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll for pay dates of January 5th, 2024 and January 19th, 2024, and general assistance checks number 55235 through check number 55270 in the amount of $25,640.26.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the road district expenditures?
I'll make a motion to approve payroll for pay dates of January 5th, 2024 and January 19th, 2024, and road district checks number 23228 through check number 23271 in the amount of $166,153.39.
Second.
Second.
Roll call?
Supervisor Diamond. Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a motion to approve the general town fund expenditures.
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of January 5th, 2024 and January 19th, 2024, and general town fund checks number 60745 through checks number 60799 in the amount of $281,166.21.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're turning to public participation. Mr. Marcus, we're at the point in our meeting where we would like to hear from you. If you would like to make some comments, if you'd like, you can come up to the microphone. We can hear you a little bit better there. And you can tell us what it is that you came to say.
All right.
And would you tell me how you spell your last name so I get this right?
Schauffele.
F-E-L-E, okay.
Yeah. So last year in our neighborhood we had a house explosion on Noel. I think it's a townhouse complex with like 5 properties that were involved. And I've spoken here once before because I was concerned about the cleanup of the site. It has been cleaned up somewhat. Some of the debris has been removed, but now we have basically 2 townhouses that are basically ruins just left there. And I was just inquiring if there's any action proposed or what's going to happen with that.
To Ms. Marcus, I can tell you, we are well aware of that site, and my staff has gone out there quite often to see it. I've seen it myself, and we know exactly what you're talking about. It is in the courts right now. In fact, there is a hearing tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m., which you can attend if you'd like to. And if you email me tomorrow, I will send you the password to get into the hearing. And perhaps someone who can tell you a little bit more about it. Is Nader here? I thought, oh, Nader Gazzelli. I don't know if you know Mr. Nader Gazzelli, but he is very familiar with what's going on with that. And if you'd like to talk to him, perhaps after the meeting this evening, he can bring you up to date on what's going on with that.
It's a Zoom.
Right. Tomorrow is a court Zoom meeting. But if you wanted to talk with Mr. Nader Gazzelli after the meeting tonight, he can tell you a little bit more about what we've been through with that. And I know it's been a big problem in your neighborhood. I'm quite aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming to talk to us, Mr. Is it Chafelli? Am I saying it? Okay, right.
Thank you.
All right. All right, I don't see any other requests for public participation, so that brings us to the...
And before we go to the next item, can I make a quick motion?
What's that?
It's not on the agenda, but I would move, because I think we're going to have a lengthy meeting today, and it's a very full agenda, directing your attention to the agenda, Karen. Item number 11 is possible vote on OEM director position. And there's also on the agenda possible vote and discussion of revising the hiring policy. I don't think we should proceed with that number 11, especially after closed session. I think we're going to run out of time, and so I don't think it's urgent. I would just ask that we consider moving it to another date, that possible vote on the OEM director position. I know we've received some resumes, but I only had a chance to go over it. And I'm just considering the length of time that this meeting did take. I don't think that's an urgency, so I would move to strike that item tonight's meeting and defer it to another meeting. And that would be a motion to defer that matter to another meeting when we have more time.
Why don't we do this? When we get to that point, you can move to table. We can see what time it is right then. Maybe it won't be as late as you think, but we'll see how it goes. I understand.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let's see. We were at the honor flight of our meeting. Mr. P?
Absolutely, yeah. As we've done for many years in the past, as the tradition that was started by my predecessor. It was something near and dear to Clerk Gary Warner's heart was the Honor Flight Chicago. So he started doing a $1,000 donation to Honor Flight, not certainly from any taxpayer dollars, but from revenue received to the township through passport renewals. And it's something that I've been happy to take on and do not only in his honor as a veteran, but also for all the veterans that serve. I think it's a great tradition and a great cause. And the volunteer from the organization, Mr. Ron Wolfick, is here, as he's been many years in the past, to accept a check and a donation on our behalf. So Ron, if you'd like to come up, we'll give you the check. There's a real one too. This isn't the only. You guys want to come up too?
Should you have the actual check?
Oh, it's got to get signed. No problem.
Good to see you.
What?
Yeah, poke your head.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm usually in the back, so.
Yeah.
Then Ron, if you'd like to say a couple of quick words about Honor Flight, we'd be happy to hear you.
I heard the meeting might be kind of long, so I don't want to take up much time, but Honor Flight Chicago is a nonprofit. We're the biggest in the country. We fight veterans on Midway, April through October. For over 10,000 veterans, more than anybody else in the country. We have 140 hubs, we're all separate hubs. And World War II vets, about 6,500, and Korean vets, about 2,100, over 2,000 Vietnam vets. So everybody here probably knows a Vietnam veteran, maybe a Korean War veteran too. So I have some applications at the front desk. Our website, ironfightchicago.org, just Google Iron Fight Chicago. And let me tell you about what you guys do for us. Nobody else in the state of Illinois does what Maine Township has done for us every year. And Gary Warner was our very first Korean vet that flew. We started with Korean vets in World War II. So we still have two mascots, World War II mascots. Howard Levinson from Northbrook, he's 100 years old, B-24 pilot. And we have Dottie, who's a Navy nurse, 100 years old too. They're going strong. They're one of our mascots. So we start in April, and we fly. It's free for the veterans. It's a one-day trip to Washington, D.C. We fly to Dulles, Midway to Dulles. Southwest is our sponsor, and we pay them dearly, but they give us a 737 and a crew, and they fly us there. So we have a lot of volunteers, 8 nurses, 2 doctors on every flight, and we care about the vets. So the Vietnam vets are signing up like crazy. Finally, word's getting out about Vietnam vets. First, they didn't want to sign up with us, and now word's out, and now they're signing up in groups. So we have about 3,000 on the wait list for Vietnam. We keep flying until we can't find any more in the years. So it's something that we appreciate. Every dollar that you give us goes right back. We only have 2 paid employees, we're all volunteers, and every dime goes right back to the street for the veterans. We have an education program for schools. We started about 3 years ago, and we go into schools and tell them about what the vets have done, and bring a veteran in there for the classrooms. Kids really like it. So we have lousy help for volunteers, and the application process, I'll leave a couple copies. Go online also. We also need nurses. We always have nurses signed up to help us, and doctors. They're always welcome to join us. And it's a great organization. We're going strong. So Midway's been great to us, and donations like you guys do, no one else does that. And this is really makes us run. It's all private donations. There's no government funding. So we appreciate that. March 23rd is our hockey game in Bensonville, Park District Ice Rink. March 23rd, FBI against Chicago Police. We do it every year, and it's a fundraiser for us. It actually pays for a flight. There's about 2,000 people go to it. So March 23rd, if you like hockey, come out to Bensonville. It's Saturday. It's a lot of fun, and you'll see a lot of vets there, and of course the FBI and Chicago always fight each other with who wants to win, CPD. And they trade off every year, it seems. But I appreciate being here. I want to take up the meeting's time, but thank you is just a word, but what you do for us supports veterans. And Vietnam guys and gals are kind of forgotten about. I was in high school at that time, but they were not treated very nicely. So when they come with us, they're in tears. It's very emotional for all of us. We do mail call on the airplane, coming back from Dulles. About 2 pounds of mail per veteran, and everyone gets mail. And so we pass the packets out in the aisle there, and about 15 minutes later, it's on a dry eye on the airplane, including us. It's very emotional. Because they get mail from everybody, and it's really something to see. So it's, when I volunteer, we always get volunteers. Go to our website to sign up, and we'll take everybody. Airport duty, mail call, we do all kinds of neat things. And you help us every year doing this. Gary started it, and Peter followed up, and thank every one of you for helping us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you. All right. Okay, at this point, I'd like to just recognize some of our new employees. As you know, whenever we bring some new people on staff, we like to give the board an opportunity to meet them. So I'm going to ask you, Kathy and Tricia, to come up here for a second. Kathy, would you like to introduce Tricia to the board?
This is Tricia Mullen. She's our new senior and disability advocate. Just started in January 8th.
What department?
For general assistance.
General assistance. Okay, thank you.
Right. So we're very happy to have you. We were understaffed for a while, and Tricia, we're very glad to have you join us and pick up on the things that need to be done. So thank you.
Thank you, pleasure.
Okay. All right, Nick, would you like to introduce your new staff member?
So this is Sally Bowman. She's going to be helping me in the food pantry, assisting me part-time. We started about a week ago, so just wanted to introduce Sally and time flies. All right, well, this is Sally Bowman.
Sally comes to us with experience in food pantry work and is also a resident of Maine Township. So Sally, thanks very much for joining us this evening so we can all meet you. You're there in the mornings usually, is that right?
Yes.
And Tricia's there all day, so, yeah. All right, fine, and you are most welcome to stay around, but if you don't want to, you don't have to, so that's up to you. Okay, all right, fine. Okay, all right, let's move on to, well, you know, as long as we're talking about employees, I want you to notice that we got a couple of messages about employees that should be on your table here. Congratulations to Jessica Kuzmans. There is someone who appreciates the food pantry, but wants us to let people in the door immediately in the morning. Nick, I don't know, you want to talk about why that's a problem, letting people in?
Oh, yeah. So the issue is clients are coming in early. Yeah, so we're just running into the issue that we're having clients show up early. By early, I mean by like 8:45, waiting in line to use the food pantry. So we're kind of running into the problem of, do we, you know, set the time, like it's 10 o'clock, that's the time that we're open, and that's usually how we've been going about it. We have just started to do a lottery instead of, you know, everybody's fighting to get on the elevator, and, you know, everybody's first, and it's an ugly little bit of a scene. So what we're trying to do is just figure out ways if we should be strict on the 10 o'clock rule, or if, you know, doing a lottery, and that way we have the first 10 people, they can raffle off who's going to be first, and that's just the issue that we've been dealing with. We do have a lot of clients now, which is a good thing.
I noticed there's a compliment to you and Stephen also, so.
It's Steve Amari.
Oh, yes, no problem.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, that's it.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks. Okay, all right, let's go on to old business. All right, as you may recall, last month, brought up the policy that we have regarding reimbursement of travel expenses. This issue turned out to be more complicated than I thought it was, and I've talked to Kurt quite a bit about this. I was hoping we could eliminate the need for receipts, not have to do that, but it turns out the Local Government Travel Expense Control Act requires us to turn in receipts. And you can see that in your packet, the statutory excerpt there, which absolutely requires that. And I think that's why the board made a change to the policy back in 2017, because that's when this part of the statute was added. But it still doesn't say perhaps all the language that it needs to say according to the statute. So what the resolution does is insert that language, which is reimbursement of, this would be E2, reimbursement of travel, meal, and lodging expenses incurred. I'm sorry. Nope, no, I got the wrong one. Let's see, you can compare the board current policy, which is attached there, and see under section F. Let's see. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. No, actually, I think this is all. The language that's required to be there is F, is in F, but the language required that is not in there is in E. And you see most of the
We don't
language.
see any F, so please tell us what you're talking about.
F is in this part, photocopy of the manual as it is. That's the required language.
Is that attached to the statute behind it? Is that right?
This is the board policy. This looks like this.
So it's page 7.
Page 73.
Thank you. At the bottom, so we should look at page 73, thank you.
Right, so the bottom is 73. This was the language that I had hoped we could get rid of. That is the requirement that we turn in receipts. But we can't really get rid of that language because that's actually required by the Local Government Travel Expense Control Act. So I don't think we can change that. In fact, what the resolution would do is simply parrot the language of that act. And the only other change that is in this resolution is that meals are defined to include reasonable expenses incurred for the purchase of food and non-alcoholic beverages not to exceed the applicable GSA per diem rate, which, Kelly, I thought that's what you suggested, that we go with the GSA per diem rate. So that's why I put that in there. And it depends on where you are. If you're in Springfield or Chicago or wherever, that per diem changes.
Yeah.
So that's what this resolution would do. It would change it to not any dollar amount, but the applicable GSA per diem rate that a person could be reimbursed for. But it doesn't eliminate the need to turn in receipts altogether. Kurt, I don't know if you want to talk about this at all. Kurt has been, and I have been emailing back and forth about this, trying to simplify this policy, but it just wasn't working out.
Yeah, there's really, our hands are tied. We have to comply with the act, and the act only gives us limited areas where we get to decide what the policy is going to say. So the receipt requirement, we have to follow. There's no leeway there. So this is really just making sure that our policy is consistent with what state law is going to impose on us.
And the new section E2, that's the paragraph that says expensive township board members. This provides that reimbursement of travel, meal, and lodging expenses incurred by any township board member must be approved by a roll call vote at an open meeting of board of trustees. That is required by the statute.
That's required by the
So
statute.
that wasn't actually already in our policy, but is in the law. So we actually have to do a roll call to approve whatever expenses we are paying out.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that's what we have there. Do you have any questions on this or thoughts about
I
this?
just had a quick question. Our existing manual
Yeah.
didn't have anything that specifically violated the statute. We're just making it more clear to mirror the language of the statute.
I
Is that right?
think we could say that, Tim. I think that'd be correct.
Is that right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're following our lawyer's advice to make it
Yeah,
more specific.
right. Does anyone else have any questions or comments about it? I know it is a little confusing, and it's also sort of disappointing. I was hoping to simplify everything, and that's not exactly happening.
State tied our hands on that aspect.
Yeah.
We can attach a copy of the statute to the event, right? Put it right in, cut and copy and paste.
Right. All right. Can I have a motion to approve this resolution then?
Motion to approve amending the township reimbursement policy.
Second.
Okay, any questions that anyone wants to ask? Okay, all right, do we have a roll call then?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes, please.
Trustee
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay, that's done. All right, let's go to new business. All right, discussion and possible vote regarding roof repairs. Mike, this is regarding okay, we have multiple roofs that have problems. We had a leaking roof in the GA area, which is the flat roof to the north. As you know, we've also had leaks in this room through the skylights up the top. What Mike is addressing right now is just the skylight issue. Because we're under the belief that the repair of the roof, the flat roof on the north, would be over $30,000. So we have to put out bids for it. So that's going to take a while to do. So what we're looking at right now is just repairing the skylights up here. And as you may recall, Jim, you wanted a new section added, an addendum added to the agreements that were signed by whoever did the skylights. The first line roofing did not want to sign that addendum. We were going to go through them initially, but they didn't want to sign the addendum. There was at least one other roofer who looked at it and said, I don't want to sign this addendum. But Mike, after calling many roofers, I don't know, what is it, 18?
I think we're up to like 20 right now.
About 20 roofers.
Some help from Mr. Nader as well.
Was able to get two that were willing to give us a quote for the roof work.
Yes.
All right, with that introduction, would you like to talk about these two quotes?
Yes, thank you, Supervisor Diamond. So with that said, I was able to go ahead and get two quotes. One was from Advantage Roofing and Construction, the other from Euclid Roofing and Siding. There is a price between them, of course. One is $6,870, the other being $5,100.
My recommendation is to go with Advantage Edge Roofing and Construction. I feel that when they were out here, of all the roofers that I met with, they were very, very professional, very detailed. Even in their scope of work over here, it's very detailed. Both seem willing to go ahead and sign the addendum if the board did go ahead and provide. One thing that I do like about Advantage Roofing is they are willing to go ahead, even without the addendum. They have a workmanship warranty in there for 5 years, which I have not had that offered from any other company. So I feel like that's kind of a big thing as well. They were up there providing pictures. It is pretty bad up there. So again, just through the scope of work and everything and all the details, my recommendation would be for Advantage Roofing and Construction.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mike?
I would just chime in as well that Mike and I were talking about it, and I actually recommended Advantage to them because they did the roofing on my house and did a fantastic job. I've referred him to several other of my clients. They've done the roofing and everybody's been very happy. One of them, there was like a problem. They came out the next day and repaired it. You know, no questions asked, no anything. I know Randy, he's a good guy and stands behind his work. So that's all I would chime in.
I just have one comment.
Yes.
The reason I requested the addendum one more time is that to evaluate a construction contract, you have to know what the cost of the hourly rate of the labor is and the cost of the materials. That's why I requested the addendum. I would respectfully not recommend the Advantage Roofing contract because they want us to pay their attorney's fees. It says court proceedings on page 2. Not to say that would never come up, but it makes no sense for a client or to agree to pay the other side's attorney's fees, and they don't pay our attorney's fees. You'll notice that it says court proceedings. We pay their attorney's fees if there's a dispute. Why would we agree to that? It's just completely unreasonable. And whether they are a good worker, they probably are. And I think we should get this underway because Mike's been doing a lot of work on it, and I don't want to delay it. But I strongly advise against signing any contracts that agree to pay the other side's attorney's fees. Why would you do that in a free country where there's no obligation to do that? And you can negotiate and say, we're not going to pay your attorney's fees. Strike that language. A reasonable man would do that. Let's see what that would be my only comment.
All right, just would you point out where that line is?
Sure, page 2.
At the very bottom of the box?
Yeah, court proceeding, Karen. It's
All right.
buried in there.
Mike, can you see that on your
Yes.
copy there?
Yes.
All right.
Attorney's fees can be very expensive.
So if you want to prove it, I'm happy to work with you to line that out and make some changes to that, and we can make sure that there's not going to be any of that language. If the board wants to approve it tonight, you can just approve it subject to final attorney review.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Mike. I'm sorry, Jim. Do you want to make that motion?
Sure.
To approve it subject to...
Well, I think it says, it kind of says though that if we don't pay them, they have the right to go and answer.
You always take that language out of all these contracts.
Take it out anyway? Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine with that.
Okay.
We also want deposition and transcript costs. Do you want to get embroiled in litigation and pay their deposition and transcript costs? That's not allowed in the code of civil procedure. Why would we agree to that? So I'll make a motion to, if everybody wants to approve this contract, subject to that language being eliminated from the proposal.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Mike. Good job.
All right, thank you very much. All right, let's go on to the next move, one.
Karen?
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk about the other roof though?
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so,
Sorry.
on the GA roof, we did have a leak that came through, and that's something that we discussed about doing and replacing the GA roof maybe back in the summer. So one of the things that we spoke about is obviously we'd have to do an RFP. So I was looking to see about getting an approval. I don't know if we can vote on that tonight or not, because it's not on the agenda, but maybe something to keep in mind about maybe I'd like to get like a roofing consultant to come out, take a look at the roof, even take a look at the roof above the assessor's apartment and streamers, and maybe have them assist with doing an RFP as well, so.
Do you have any idea how much that would run, to have consultants take a look at that?
Not too sure. The last time I did something like this was about $5,000 to go ahead and do something like that. I don't know, that was maybe 4 years ago, so I can start to put something together, and then for the next board meeting, I can go ahead and bring that to the board.
Okay. All right,
That's
very
okay.
good.
All right, thank Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, now discussion and possible vote on tentative fund, on tentative town fund / general assistance budget. Did I skip one? Sorry, all right, discussion and possible vote on town fund and general assistance line item transfers. Dana, would you like to come up to Mike and explain why we do this? We do this periodically, and what this would accomplish.
Okay, good evening. Okay, included in your board packet, a list of line item transfers for both town fund and for general assistance, along with 2 resolutions that we're hoping to pass this evening. Line item transfers allow us to allocate costs accurately and ensures that appropriate amounts are reflected in the correct line items. They enable the reallocation of funds within the budget, ensuring that resources are distributed in line with priorities and contribute to more accurate internal reporting and help in tracking and managing expenditures accurately. So after reviewing the most current income statements for each department, I am suggesting that we transfer $48,045 from town fund contingency and $4,075 from GA contingency to the individual line items that I have listed on the sheet for you.
So we have actually 2 different resolutions here. One is for town fund and one is for general assistance.
Correct.
And so when we make the budget at the beginning of the year, of course, we're taking an educated guess as to how much we'll need in each fund. And sometimes we need to transfer one line item amounts to another line item amounts to cover the expenditures of the second line. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, fine. And what we also have is we usually have a contingency fund, which is for the express purpose of pretty much transferring funds out of it to where it ends up being needed.
Correct.
So this does not increase the overall budget, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, it just moves some of the line items around.
It's just moving funds around.
Okay, all right. And I think we've done this probably most years in the past.
Usually every January.
Okay, all right. So let's look at the general town fund ones first. Does anyone have any questions about the resolution for transferring items, amounts from one line item to another in the town fund?
I don't see that on this list. Oh, thank you, Phil.
Okay.
48 for the town fund.
All right. If there are no questions initially, I have a motion to approve the resolution to transfer funds in the general town fund, or rather, transfer amounts from one line item to another in the general town fund budget.
I will make a motion for to approve resolution number 2024-2 to authorize a line item transfer in the general town fund.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All right. Roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay. And we have the same thing for the general assistance fund. Same process, correct?
Correct.
All right, thanks.
This time, there's the line items are in there in this 2-page document, just saying where the money's going. Right?
Correct. They're listed for town fund and
Yeah.
general assistance.
Oh, I didn't see one for general town fund. Okay, sorry.
Town fund,
Oh, right.
it's on
Okay.
right, it's on the front side of the memo.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you, Dan. So it looks like for general assistance, it's itemized 1,600, 1,200.
Correct, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, could I have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing line item transfer in the general assistance fund?
So,
Second.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, okay, fine. Now we are in discussion and possible vote on the tentative town fund / general assistance budget for 24-25. And again, just like the highway department first passed a tentative budget and then they passed their regular budget, their final budget this meeting, we are doing our tentative budget this meeting and then we'll do our final one the next meeting after it has been now, does anyone have any questions or comments regarding this proposed budget? All right. Now, I will mention one thing, because there were some questions about it last year. The amount of the budget for Recovery Connection has been increased greatly. It went from $30,000 to $70,000, and the reason that is we know that Senator Murphy awarded a $30,000 appropriation, but we have not yet actually received that money yet. So we are still waiting for that. I've been in contact with her office, but I haven't heard anything yet. So what we wanted to do was put a little extra town money, the $10,000 town money in the fund so that even if we don't get that appropriation until next summer, Marty can start with some of the programs that he wants to implement this year. And that would be, Marty, you mentioned the yoga classes at the facility that houses provides residential treatment for female alcoholics. You had plans to perhaps hire someone to be on call for individuals being released from Lutheran General Hospital. You wanted to match up with the community. And more speakers, like the One Pill Can Kill speaker that we have.
Correct.
So those extra town funds will allow Marty to get started with that while we wait for that appropriation to come through, because we do not have that money yet. All right. Now, does anyone else have any other questions about the budget or anything?
Karen, I wanted to make a couple of comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I apologize. You did tell me that earlier. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so just as Supervisor Diamond mentioned, we have changed some of the line items, but just overall, I want to let you know for the fiscal year 24-25, there has been only a modest increase. I do want to state this has been a collaborative effort as each department had been met with to discuss revenues and expenditures and just to see what we think we want to plan for the upcoming year. So we did a detailed exploration of each budget category and looked at wants versus needs and tracked actual financial spending against the budget. Some areas that we looked at were trends and patterns to identify potential areas for improvement or cost savings that we considered external factors. Under revenue projections, we estimated and projected sources of income, including sales, appropriations, donations, and other revenue streams. And under expense planning, we categorized and allocated funds to different categories, such as operating expenses and capital expenditures. We reviewed historical spending patterns, and we adjusted for anticipated changes, as well as unforeseen expenses, with funds being placed in contingency line items for this purpose. The monthly income statements that you always receive in your board packet, the department heads also receive every month. So they are given regular updates and reports on departmental finances to monitor their portion of the budget. These financial reports also help with decision-making for future budgeting processes. I do want to make note that back in December, we levied slightly over $5.5 million, and our current budget request for both town fund and GA is right around $5.1 million. So I'm pleased to report that our expenses have remained well within the levied amount for this fiscal year. And I want to thank the department heads as well as my admin team for being fiscally conservative while still offering stellar programs.
Okay, can I circle back? I had a quick question on the line item transfers that we did.
Yes.
Refresh my memory, why is it $22,000 in miscellaneous to the clerk's office again? Was there a line item that we didn't have?
Sure, the license plate stickers.
That's what.
So we did that mid-year.
Right.
That was before we added a line item, but now the new budget will reflect
That's what I thought.
the actual
Okay.
line item. Sure.
Thank you.
That's a good question, but that's a lot of money.
Yep.
So actually, as Clerk Gilama stated, we started selling license plate stickers, which is a very successful program, but that was mid-year, so we did not have a line item, but we are now adding license plate stickers. And we also added capital assets to the revenue line item for any township property that is sold during the year. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, Jim?
I just had two quick ones. Susan, what is CONF and MTGS? Do you know what that is?
Where are you at?
Page 2, assessor. I was wondering.
Conferences and meetings.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, because that was kind of a modest amount, towards you, so I was wondering why it's so modest.
Our fees are getting higher for everything,
Okay.
so
Okay, and then,
that was the problem.
okay, and the second question, Marty, were you comfortable going forward with this today on that issue Karen brought up about that allotting some money from,
Oh,
is
absolutely.
that right? You were aware this was going to come up today?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, we met, we talked about it. Okay.
all right, great. All right, thanks.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve to adopt the tentative budget. We have a motion to approve this tentative budget, which will then be posted for 30 days.
Motion to approve the tentative budget.
Second?
Any other final questions or comments? Okay, roll
Thank you
call.
for your efforts.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher? Yes. Trustee, excuse me, Trustee Maliki?
Yes. All right, thank you very much. You know, I don't think I have a blue bag of this, so I'm going to sign my copy. Is there?
But we're not signing it.
What's that?
You're not signing the tentative, right?
I think we need to sign the tentative one. It's got,
You didn't do the roll and
well, it's got signature lines on it. I think we do. I think we do sign it.
If you'd like to, not pay for it, just because
I don't, we never did, so, because it's still tentative. It's the final.
yeah, if you don't have to sign it right now, yeah.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
All right. Okay. You want to sign it or I don't care?
Matt, I mean, we're going to sign the final one. for
Right,
sure.
right. Okay, all right, I'm going to put that one aside. All right, let's move to the next one. This one, I want you to look at your calendars. We have two different options for a meeting in the fiscal year 24-25. So normally it would be on December 31st, which you might not want to be at.
I won't be here.
So the other alternative is to meet the day before, which would be December 30th. And that seemed to be sort of a logical alternative. It's a Monday night. Does someone want to express a preference?
Was there something in writing, Karen, on this?
Yep. Yep. It's a memo from
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Otherwise, the dates are the same. Is that correct, Ella?
Yeah.
Are there other?
So everything is same.
All right, so, what, do you want the one for December 30th, I presume? No?
I would prefer that one. I don't know if anybody's available.
Maybe a little earlier. What day of the week is the 30th, Karen?
It's a Monday.
Monday. Oh, I see, so it has to be December 30th. Okay.
But we would do that rather than doing it like the Thursday
Right.
after
Or
Christmas.
the Thursday before. Right, right. Okay. So the option would be December with another date possibly? Oh, we don't have to. No, I meant the day, their Christmas. We could do it conceivably. We'll do it.
26th or 27th?
Yeah, that's
People
what
are going
I'm
away
saying.
for Christmas.
Okay.
26th, nobody's going to come the day after.
So those are the only options. Okay.
The 30th is fine.
I'm not a calendar. Okay.
All right, so do I have a motion to adopt the schedule of regular board meetings that provides for a meeting on December 30th?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Maliki?
Yes. Okay,
It's also got 2 dates for 2025 as well, right?
well, that's because they're part of our fiscal year. Yeah.
Okay, so we're approving those too.
Right.
Not just those. Okay, very good.
All right, next, discussion and possible vote on interactive display solution quotes. Vicki, step up to the microphone, please.
So to do this, we're actually going to use our current interactive displays to show a useful error.
All right, so we call this our smart board, but I guess it's a
This
brand
is-
name.
Jim, this is the page, everyone, that you're going to want to look for in your packet, and it'll come right after this. So this is the start of it. All right. So we first started talking about this in October of last year. Based on everything we talked about at that meeting, I did some research and I received quotes from 5 vendors, 4 of which met the specs for our network. We asked for quotes to lease and purchase with options for an 80-inch or larger wall-mounted unit and a 70-inch or larger, and prices for a 70-inch or larger mobile unit.
All right, Vicki, let's stop right
Yes.
here. And let's talk briefly, why are we asking for 2
Well,
instead of 1? And
sure.
Marie, could you maybe step up for a minute with Vicki, just to chime in as to why we need 2?
I'm actually going to get to all that. I've got like a whole little, it's going to go in order. It's going to make sense.
Okay.
Marie, you're welcome to if you want to, but we already talked earlier, so I think we're good.
Okay.
So after all the different research, based on the information I received, I recommend that we purchase 2 75-inch mobile units. One unit would be purchased by the senior department that would be used downstairs in our community room for our senior program, all of our program that's held in that space. The reason that we would do 2 units is because really what ages and causes problems to the life of the device is moving it. You have to put it, Mike and I moved it today. You have to put it in the elevator, you're trying to get it through thresholds, you're trying not to hit yourself with it. It's a lot of wear and tear and bouncing on a big screen like this. So we want to have 2 devices that stay in the space where they're going to be used. So the first space would be the community room, the second space would be this room right here. That would also then leave us this board that, although it's at the end of its life, it still has some useful time. I thought some things we could use it for would be a backup, for mainstay if they have something downstairs where they want to have this in their conference room. If there's a busy time for the assessor's office, we could put it in the lobby and have directional signage saying, please have a seat in the boardroom, take a number, we'll call you. So we can kind of use this one. It can't be relied upon for programming, but it can be relied upon as signage and busy events. If we have an open house, it can say, hey, here's where you go. So there's still some life left in this for smaller applications. Again, the 75-inch too, if we get we had looked at mounting it, and I just feel after doing some research that a mounted bigger board, based on that drywall down there, we'd have to put a bunch of backer boards and things. It just really doesn't seem like a super safe solution or a solution where it's going to be able to be mounted for that long on the wall that we have in the space. But it would be something that stays in that space. The 75 inches too, the reason why we would need 2, they're not going to fit through the thresholds on the stand. So we want to have, one thing that we've discussed, Marie and I have discussed a lot too, is that having a bigger, taller unit is easier for everyone to see. We had a room full of people for a movie today, so a higher, larger unit is going to allow for more people to see it without having to, it's not really safe to even put it up here and have to lift it. We want it to stay on the ground and be big enough for everybody. So that's part of why we would want to, it's a little bigger investment, but you are extending the life of the devices. It's a little bit safer, they stay in one spot, and you can get a bigger device, but also you have that mobility. Like, so for right now, this not being mounted, we can kind of move it around. After we're done with it, I can push it back. So those are the reasons why I would recommend 2 of the 75-inch mobile units. Let's see, so after reviewing a lot of different quotes, I was very impressed with all the submissions. The solution I'm looking for that meets the range of our needs, because our needs are a little different. We have meeting needs and entertainment needs. So we have to look for things that fit those specific needs for what we're using the board for. If you see in your packet, you have information from Sharp Business Systems. So they have a quote, and all the quotes that we received that were compatible with our network are featured in your packet. So everything right now is actually from the board packet online. So they gave us some information about their company. They gave us the pricing on an 86-inch display. That's just not going to work for our facility, but this is the pricing that I was looking at. With that pricing, or no, it's 86, just kidding. There we go. So for the 75-inch mobile display, you're getting a Sharp Apples board, which has 4K screens. It's going to be just really, visible and bright and vibrant for, our different applications and movies and things like that. It features a Windows 11 conferencing i5 PC, which is basically a little computer that sits on the back. So it'll connect to our network. People can use their flash drives for presentations. It'll have PowerPoint. This includes, I'll go a little faster for you. This includes Office Home Business, the cart, the accessory tray, a Yamaha soundboard, so you're going to get that full surround sound from a soundboard similar to this one. And then it comes with all of the other features, training, delivery, installation, labor, and it also has an on-site 3-year warranty for hardware and their installation. So I thought that was something.
Now, the purchase price for each individual board is $8,055.40. That's like their initial price, the price they just gave us for it. So if you go through, there's some other features of them. There is some other brands and options and pricing to be considered. I put a comparison together. So price-wise, for the 75-inch one, that's what our price would be. For two of them, it would be $16. Yep. So this is like a I just did kind of a breakdown of everything in the packet. So there's pricing from different companies. Again, all of the options were great. There is one that is a little bit less price-wise, but they are fully remote everything. They're not located in Illinois. And some of their warranty information and things like that, everything would be like remote support through a Guru setup. So, and it's a little bit more proprietary. So I feel that based on the interviews with the vendors and everyone coming out, I really felt good about the Sharp company. I don't know, is there any questions or any other information you want to know?
So I just want to circle back to the fact we're going to have two.
Yes.
One would be downstairs used primarily by mainstreamers.
Yes.
And Marie, I understand mainstreamers will pay for that one out of its account. That is not taxpayer money, it is fees paid by people who have come to mainstreamer events and will come again to watch movies and other presentations that you have downstairs. Is that right?
Yes, and money that has been there since like when we were doing the expo at Baltimore. So the money has been accumulated and we've not spent it.
Okay.
Still from the expo that we were doing.
So you have plenty of funds to cover one of these. And I understand some of you really want to, because in the past you've had this one go down in the middle of movies.
Today?
Okay, today's not the only day either, is it? It's happened, okay.
And we did have it confirmed by multiple IT people from different companies, because I kind of wanted to make sure, are we just thinking it's not working? And we did have it confirmed that it is just kind of an end of life. The screen's going, the computer needs to be replaced, so there's just a lot of different, it's served us really well, but it's time, and with this plan that we're kind of putting in place of keeping them more stationary, I think that it will last longer, so.
So the one that would be up here, would you just keep it by the side here?
Yes, I think we would just sort of move it into like the middle of these cabinets.
All right, and is it a little higher or taller than
Yes,
that?
so we are able, because we won't have to be shoving it in an elevator like 2 times a day, we can actually mount it higher up. This was mounted this way to fit through these doors and fit in the elevator. We won't have to do that anymore, so it can be a little higher. And in all of the new boards, as you know, with their TVs at home, they don't have this big plastic anymore. It's going to go to almost the edge, so it's not as, you don't want to be pushing this thing around. This was actually relatively sturdy, but a new one is going to kind of go a little bit more to the edge. I think I have for sure. Yeah, they're like a little bit sleeker. No, we get the point, but yeah, it's a little bit more sleek, so it's going to go to the edge. So.
Okay.
And we have options. We don't have to do 2 at once if we want to, whatever you would like to do. Yeah, we can do it, and then that way we,
All right. I did get a complaint the other night when I was here with the library presentations. People said they couldn't see it was too low, and you could have made it higher, but people would have had to lift it up on this stage here, and that's always dangerous.
And that is dangerous, and it really is damaging for the screen. So I think the thing too, for me and for I think I can speak for Marie and for Richard and anyone else who's using it is, when you have people at a program, and for the assessor's office too, when you have a room full of people who come here for a presentation that is a digital presentation that's, hey, we're showing you this, everything you need to see is on the screen like we had last month. When you're standing there and it is a half an hour of it not working, people tend to lose confidence in everything you're talking about. Well, if you can't get this to work, and then you're going to talk about something else, their time is valuable too, and you have a room full of people, and it's not, especially like we have our assessor programs and things where there's waiting lists for these things. You can't have it where it just doesn't, it doesn't look good. So those are the options. Again, like I said, we did look into leasing as well, and it doesn't make sense to spend that extra money when we have the capital. So you kind of just spend more money on leasing, so.
Go ahead.
And this price is sort of all-inclusive. It's not just the screen, but it's the screen.
Yes.
And
so just to show you the packet again, make sure that I'm looking at it the way that everyone else is. There is an additional 2-year warranty you can buy in this one, but yeah, this would be, my understanding is all this stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're looking at the page that says 75-inch interactive display at the top. It should be, right?
Yes.
And the price for is $8,055.
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right. And we want two of these, they're the same.
Yep.
For each one. So that was, you're recommending two of these 75-inch sharp interactive displays.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
And they connect to our network as well, so you'd also be able to print off this if you're in the middle of a presentation. It would have the pen software. Like everything I'm working on now, I pulled from our All Share folder, so if staff has a presentation, you can save it straight to the All Share folder and things. So it's basically just going to be another like big computer on our network. So.
All right. Any other questions? From that end of the table, you guys use it too?
What could they order? What's the turnaround?
Turnaround time, let's see, pricing's good for 30, I believe it's only a few weeks. It seemed like this is something that wouldn't take, because I think we want to get this within this fiscal year is our goal, just because it's something that we've been planning since October. So the plan is to get it in the building before the fiscal year ends. The other thing too is once, there's a bunch of steps that go along with it that they provided to us, like their implementation plan. So once I get like a contract for us to sign, I might run it by Kurt and just make sure that until you get to that point, they don't provide you with some of that information. So I would always pass that on to just to make sure that we're not, missing something in there. But
Can they give us a little break if we order two?
so this was pricing based on ordering this and an 86-inch,
okay.
but I can ask for,
I just would be curious because I mean some of these things like delivery and training, like you're not going to be trained twice.
Yes.
You know.
So yeah, so I can, would you like me to see if I can ask them if they can go? Sure.
All right. So having said that, can I have a motion to approve the?
I have a comment first.
Okay.
At the last meeting, I brought up to the attention of the board, I think we need to reconsider salaries at some point. And I know that was heard, I hope it was heard. This is an amount of money, you say it's not taxpayer money, but it is money we have available to us. That we're going to spend $16,000 on this solution to quote this display. So I'd like us to consider that, when we reconsider hiring decisions and employee salary decisions, which I think are more important than spending $16,000 on this particular company. So that's my only comment. We should keep that in mind when we're voting on situations where we're going to be spending money that we have on things like this. That's all.
Okay, all right. And when I said not taxpayer money, I meant that one of them would come out of the mainstream accounts, and that is not taxpayer money. That is fees paid by individuals who go on trips that have been accumulated.
They're going to pay the cost of that, is that right?
So.
Yeah, because we have the money in the fund and we use.
We've already collected it, is that right?
Yeah.
We've already, yeah, it's already in the account.
But the other $8,000 is going to come out of.
Right.
Is that right? So we're spending $8,000, that's.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Same comment. I know it's a small amount of money. Okay. Whatever the appropriate time is, we'll bring up sales again, I guess.
All right. We have a motion then to approve the purchase of two Sharps 75-inch interactive display at a price not to exceed $8,055.40 per display, with the contract being subject to approval by our attorney.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Vicki, who are we purchasing them from?
We are purchasing it from Sharp. It's a company, Sharp Business Solutions.
Okay.
So it's actually, because it's Sharp, you're not paying a markup from like a different vendor. So I thought the price actually was a little bit cheaper too.
Okay. Great.
All right. Okay. Thank you. May we have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Abstain.
Trustee Malika?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next is just a short report and discussion on the cybersecurity audit. Richard, would you like to stand up here? Yes. You may recall, some time ago, we were talking about having a cybersecurity audit. We hoped it would be paid for by a grant. We kept waiting to see if that would come through. We actually have a little update on that. Richard, would you like to talk about that?
Sure. Thank you. Just in terms of brief history, a little over 2 years ago, we issued an RFP looking for responses to a request for cybersecurity audit. We received a couple of quotes from that, actually at the January 2022 board meeting, how time flies. So both of those were just around $31,000 for everything that we were looking for. So at that time, we decided to put off that expense because there was the state and local cybersecurity grant program where the federal government had allocated millions of dollars for local governments like us to help support their cybersecurity initiatives. Through many, many dead ends, talking to many, many people, and a lot of delays. Information about this was supposed to come out close to a year and a half ago, but just recently there were some changes and some movement on the state level. So what Illinois found out a few months ago, what Illinois has decided to do is not have organizations apply for grants, but they're going to use the funds and provide services on their own. So those are managed through the Illinois Department of Innovation and Technology. Supervisor Diamond and I, a few weeks ago, had a meeting with a representative from that organization, and their services are fairly limited, mostly limited to two things. One is an assessment, and the other is a kind of robust cybersecurity product, software product, that would be available for free. But, however, from that meeting, they connected us with a federal agency called the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. It's a relatively new agency in the federal government under the Department of Homeland Security. They were created in 2018 to help offer assistance to governmental bodies to prevent and respond to cybersecurity attacks and potentially compromised computer systems. So that meeting was an hour and 45 minutes with a lot of detail, which I will spare you of tonight. But essentially, the bottom line is that this federal agency can provide to us, free of cost, approximately 80% of what we were looking to do in a formal cybersecurity audit that would cost in the $30,000 range. So their focus is on preparedness and helping governmental bodies to reduce their risk likelihood of a cybersecurity attack, and if something does happen, to limit the impact of that on their operations. So a couple things that they would offer to us would be a risk-based assessment, going through upwards of 100 different points of our network, looking at our security protocols, various things like that to identify any potential improvements and best practices that we could have. They would also offer something that would continually scan our public-facing networks, things like our website, email, our IP addresses, to look for any risks that would be potentially present there. They would do it's called an external penetration test, which is kind of benevolent hacking. They would look at our system once they've done the assessment from the outside to see if there's anything that a hacker would be able to gain access to in terms of secure information or doing any damage to that. They would provide us with some options to look at the security of our website and a variety of other things as well, including not cybersecurity related, but building security assessments free of cost, and they even do active shooter implementation. So they're kind of a one-stop shop, I guess.
So Richard, do they charge anything for the services that you've mentioned thus far?
None of those services have any cost. Yeah,
Okay.
they're provided by the organization.
At this point, do you need the board to take any action to approve anything?
So I basically wanted to just ask what our elected officials thought of this, if there's any questions, kind of, do you have a sense of direction in terms of where you want to go?
If it doesn't cost anything, I'd like to take advantage of all the cybersecurity options that they offer.
Okay.
Anyone else? Pete, I know you told me years ago that your company looked at it, I think, and you thought it was worthwhile.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't beat the price. And I think it is a good thing to have done because they do show you any potential exposures you have or weaknesses. So I can't see how it's anything but a good thing for us.
Better find out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you don't want to find out the wrong way.
Right.
All right, okay, Richard, thanks for the update, and perhaps at the next meeting you can tell us if we've made any progress starting the audit.
Sure, I'll work on getting more details. It won't be a quick process, it is rather time-consuming. Even the assessments, they say, are going to take 4 hours of our time to go through. So we can start the process, but it's something that will probably span a period of like many months to kind of go through the whole process. But we'll get things underway, and I'll report back on where we are.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, our next item is something that I think some people want to talk about and some people might not want to talk about, but if anybody wants to talk about it, I'll put it on the agenda. And that is possible, what if we have any migrant buses come here and drop people off at Maine Township, which is not beyond the realm of possibility given everything we read in the newspaper. There is not up for any vote tonight. And I think that our council has some question about us perhaps doing anything with respect to that. I don't know if you want to discuss that or.
Certainly, there's really no clear authority for townships to take any action on these bus drop-offs. This is something that's really being addressed, at least right now, by sheriff's office, police departments. We're hoping there's going to be a larger regional response, including the state and federal government, but there's really not any clear statutory authority for the township to take any action on these buses.
So just in terms of dealing with that eventuality, Dana and I have tried to find out what would we do if that were to happen. We do know where we can rent a bus, a couple places where we can rent a bus that would either take people to Chicago, although I'm not sure if it would be illegal for us to do that. There is a landing zone where immigrants usually go to. That's their first stop. It's like 800 South Des Plaines, I think it is, 800 South Des Plaines. And that's probably where they would need to go to. Another alternative would be to use the bus to take people to a train station, and then they could travel downtown. So that is our plan right now. If that should happen, if anyone has any comments or questions about that, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to think about that and voice them if you do have anything you want to say.
Do we have any resources to assist them?
Well, as you know, we have a food pantry, so
Yeah.
we
Well, I know we don't have a
provide
lot.
some ready-to-eat food, perhaps. But do we have any other resources? Not really, not really. I mean, it should be, to receive general assistance, you have to be
Just showing that you have to be a resident here legally 5 years, and you have the documentation, or a citizen, American citizen. A lot of our general assistance, financial assistance. We have the food pantry, we do have quality cards we can hand out if they need to, but then where do they go?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we don't really have any
I think the best thing we could do is distribute, Nick, I can barely see you back there, some ready-to-eat food. We do have a supply of that. Usually we save it. I mean, the reason we have it is for the school kids. We put it in bags for the school kids, but that would possibly be something we could distribute to them. Okay, all right. Unless there's any further comments anyone wants to make on that? Okay, all right, we'll check that out. Now, Jim, it sounded like you wanted to maybe pass this one or pass it to after the closed session. I'm not really sure what you were saying earlier.
I was saying that the final issue on number 11 should be postponed to another meeting. Where you say return to open session and vote on the OEM director position. I think that vote should be postponed to another meeting, not.
Well, let's see how long the closed session takes. I mean, maybe it'll take longer than that. And I would suggest that even this discussion and possible vote on revising the hire process might be best done after the closed session, just because I think our discussion at the closed session would sort of inform the process of how someone's hired and with respect to this one particular person and going forward, how involved the board wants to be and what it wants to do in terms of future hiring.
I'd like to take it in the order it was given, because I did some notes and spent several hours looking at prior meetings. So it's on the agenda in the list. It says discussion and possible vote on revising the hiring process.
Okay.
That's what we're up for now. So
Okay.
you're saying we should postpone that till after the closed session?
I'm just saying that, the discussion we'll have regarding one particular person to hire
It's not mine.
might inform your opinion as to how to go forward in the future regarding hiring.
I disagree. I think we should, because
All right,
We should discuss now, I
Now,
guess.
we should discuss now.
okay,
That is not about any one person, it's about hiring.
Okay.
General policy, right?
okay,
Whenever we're ready.
right.
Right, I asked to put this on the agenda, thank you very much. I looked at prior board meetings. On the May 25th, 2021 board meeting, there was a motion by Pete to hire Eva, a great motion, we all heard it, we all voted on it, it was granted. On the October 26th, 2021 meeting, there was a motion by Richard to hire a part-time employee, we all heard it, the motion was made, we voted on it. At the November 2021 meeting, there was a motion by Dana to hire a part-time employee, we all heard her argument, we voted on it, and we approved it. Then on December 27, 2021, there was this meeting that took place where we passed this resolution giving hiring discretion to the supervisor without any board approval. And I had forgotten that happened. I was reminded by Kim, thank you, and by SC that it did happen. I agree it did happen. We need to reconsider and vacate that. That's my position. The reason why is on August 22nd, 2023, there was a board meeting subsequent to the December 2021 meeting where there was a motion to hire a grant writer. The panel was 3 people. There were 3 voters that day. The vote was 2-1. I voted against, and 2 other people voted for. The motion failed. However, even though the motion was failed, there was a grant writer hired on September 25th, 2023, and there was a contract signed for a second grant writer on December 5th, 2023. But obviously, I agree that the supervisor had the power to do that pursuant to the previous meeting in December. However, that needs to be reconsidered. I carefully looked at the meeting in December 2021, and the reasons why we had to do this without board approval is we don't want to wait 30 days. Okay, anybody who gets hired should have to wait 30 days. That's not an unreasonable imposition. There's no reason why we should hire people instantaneously without a 30-day waiting period, especially if we're concerned, which I am, that the department heads aren't being considered when people are being hired. The administrator may not be considered, and the supervisor. All those people have to be involved before new people are hired. Now I hear that 2 more people were hired before the issue was considered. At the beginning of the meeting, 2 people were hired, one by the food pantry, wasn't it considered, and one by general assistance. Was she considered? Were we considered? Was anybody considered before that happened? So I'm removing that policy be vacated and we can reconsider it. I can do that now, or I can do that after closed session, because you mentioned you want me to hear something, I'll be glad to do that, and re-motion up later. But that'll be the motion at some point, to vacate that and revest the board with approval to hire people.
Well, I just want to expand a couple of things.
Sure.
The grant writer is not an employee. She is on a contract and is paid by an hourly amount, so she's a 1099 employee. And not really an employee at all, she's a contractor. An independent contractor. As far as general assistance employees, as a supervisor, I believe Kurt will tell me this is correct, that I have the authority to hire employees without consulting the board for general assistance. And certainly the assessor.
Is that in the statute? Yes. Okay, thanks.
The assessor has the authority to hire people for her department. And I think Pete has the authority to hire people for his department too. Now, we do.
Eddie as well, right?
Pardon?
Eddie as well, right? Yes. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, of course, Eddie is.
Eddie,
He's got his own department, his own.
All right,
Yeah.
still there.
So you know, that's something. One thing we did decide is if we created any new positions, that's certainly something I've come to the board regarding, because that would obviously cost more money if we were creating additional positions, but we haven't really created additional positions. We've had some change. Some have changed from full-time to part-time, some from, I don't know, we had one change from part-time to full-time. That was our HR person. That was Kelly, was part-time at first. So there have been some changes in that respect, but the full-time equivalencies have stayed the same. There's no additional ones to approve. So now, you know, if the board wants to take a more active role in hiring, that's okay with me. Particularly, I would suggest you limit it to department heads rather than, because if we lose a receptionist right after a board meeting, it is really, really hard to go for a month without having someone sitting up front for all or part of the day. So, you know, if the board wants to be involved in hiring department heads, That's fine. I mean, usually you can wait a little bit longer before hiring a department head, but some of the line positions, we need someone right away. And that's why we changed it to begin with, is because people don't want to wait for 30 days to take a part-time hourly job. You know, if we need it. We need
Not
them right.
always 30 days. I mean,
Well, it
sometimes
can
it's 2
be.
weeks.
It could be, right.
The maximum is
Yeah,
30
it could
days,
be
but
up to 30
sometimes
days.
it's a week, sometimes it's 2
Yeah,
weeks.
could be,
sometimes-
could be. And then, go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. But then, I don't want, I mean, and then I get here, and some people don't even say, oh, I don't want to address this now. I want to kick it over to the next meeting. And so that means someone's going to be waiting for 2 months, up to 2 months to be hired. So we have, for instance, we have applications for several people who have applied for the OEM position. I'd like to talk about it tonight during our closed session, and then come out and vote on it. And we told these people that we wouldn't be making a decision until tonight, because I understand you want to have some input into who is going to be the new head of OEM. But that means, you know, you have to be involved, and you have to make decisions, and you can't keep putting it off.
Pardon me, what did I put up? What
Well,
was
I mean, I think you told
what are
me
talking
earlier
about?
that you wanted to kick this over to another meeting.
Just that particular issue, whether we're going to hire people, before we discuss the essential issue, which is whether it's going to come to the board's attention, whether or not we're hiring people to be the OEM director. The statute presumably doesn't say that you have the sole discretion to hire the OEM director. That's it.
No, and I'm telling you, fine, you know, let's
That's all I
do that.
say, you should discuss that before we start putting it on the agenda to vote on that after closed session. But you've got it on the agenda to hire another person.
Well, I know, but
That's all.
if we're going to hire, I mean, we're replacing someone. It's not a new position, we're replacing someone.
Right, yes, someone who
So
left.
it's an existing position that was empty and needs to be filled.
Right.
And so that's why it's on the agenda.
I think my suggestion shouldn't be on the agenda, because when we request, we want to revise this hiring policy, why we put it on the agenda? How long is
You
OIM
know,
person
maybe, I
there?
mean, if you did change the policy, I could just hire this person on my
Yeah,
own.
that's why we want to have a
I do
vote
that
today.
without asking your opinion.
Yeah, we want to have a vote today. We want to vacate this policy, and we want to vacate this.
Well, all right,
Yeah.
but, and what I'm saying is, you know, if you want to do that, that's fine, especially with department heads, that's fine. But you do have to be willing to make decisions fairly promptly, because applicants leave. Yeah, we're trying to say something.
Yeah, I was willing to try the hiring process, and we did change it, but I agree with Jim. I would like to go back to the way it was, because it just isn't working out. We had too much turnover in employees, something's just not working as well as it should, so we did that many years where the board approved all the hires, and so I think we should go back.
Well, go ahead, Kelly, you were going to say
Just
something.
my only thought is that, I mean, I do think it's important for us to know what's going on and who's, you know, going to be joining us, but in all those examples that Jim gave, basically we have somebody come up and say, we interviewed some people, this is who we want to hire, we don't know anything about them, we were not, so, I mean, we're just basically, even with us giving approval, we're just rubber stamping it, so I don't feel that that's really doing anything either, so, I mean,
Right.
you know, so I mean, that makes us, if that makes us feel good, then okay, let's do that, but, you know, I don't know, I guess that's all I have to say.
It's a little insulting when you say, you have to be more involved and you have to be able to make a decision right away, as if we have never been. Like, you took that away from the board with this, and then now we're asking to take, well, we requested it, we gave you that authority, and now we're asking you for it back because it's not working. And to say that, well, you need to make a decision, like you can't, like we can't, like we can and we do, but you know, so it's a little insulting when it's phrased that way. Maybe you didn't mean it that way, but you know, and then to say, well, it has to be 30 days. Well, most of the time it's not 30 days, Karen. That's the most it would be. So that's a little bit of an exaggeration in some cases. So I understand you're trying to make the case, and we did do that, and we did try it, but it's not ideal, and Kelly has a point, you know, that even the old way was a little bit of a rubber stamp, but at least we had a little bit more insight and authority, and now we basically, we just, you know, ceded it. And I regret doing that. I had reservations at the time, but I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and now I have changed my mind.
Well, certainly you can change that if you want. That's something you can do. I just do question you, though, that it is a hardship when someone, like a receptionist, or some other person, you know, like who quits and we can't fill it for a while.
Okay, but
Because
there's temporary agencies, there's ways around that. I mean,
do you want me to do that? Do you want me to hire temps?
Well, is it, I mean, I'm saying that you're making that as a case, but that's, you know, and I'm sure that is an inconvenience, but there are also multiple people here who are trained to work at the front desk. And if you're talking about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, yes, I'm sure it would be an inconvenience, but everybody can pull together for that short time, or you can hire a temp to answer the phone. I mean, I don't think that should be the sole argument for, you know, for keeping the policy as it is.
I also disagree that it was a rubber stamp. On those other occasions, we heard from Pete, and Pete spoke as to why, and we heard him why he needs an employee, and we heard what he had to say, and we heard what Richard had to say as to why he wanted a part-time employee, and we heard what Dan had to say. They presented their case, and they presented their case. Then it was presented to the board, there was a motion, we approved of it. Okay? And now that doesn't happen under this particular resolution was passed in December. That no longer happens with respect to some employees.
Nobody's arguing that they aren't able, like, that the reason they want to hire people is not important. I'm just saying that we don't know anything about the people that they've selected. All we're getting is a name and them saying, this is a person we want, and we trust them. And so we say, okay. So I'm saying whether we say okay to them or they're doing this on their own and they're making that decision, what are we giving to that process? You know, we don't know anything more about this than they do. They're the experts. We're trusting them to make those decisions.
We heard what they had to say, and they, all three individuals, listen to the meetings, articulate why these people would be getting, why should we hire them. That event happened. Okay. Now it doesn't happen.
I'm saying that if we trust them, then why are we trusting them to make the hiring decision?
Well, because we just had a survey.
Right, no, that, I understand that. I'm just
That's
saying.
part of the reason.
Yeah. Right.
Which I'm not going to say anything more, but.
Correct. So at this time, I would respectfully move that we vacate that prior resolution that we adopted at the December board meeting.
Second.
Do we just want to make clear that the motion is to repeal this ordinance?
Yes. Yeah. No, just repeal this particular discretionary policy. Kurt,
So
thank you
we're
for
going to
bringing
repeal
that
that
up.
resolution, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a policy. It says, this is what it says, Maine Township hiring discretion
So
policy.
yeah, the motion would be to repeal the Maine Township hiring discretion policy approved on December 27, 2021.
Thank you very much.
But do we want to, when they have people selected, do we want to, like, have them bring us like 2 or 3 people that they're interested in and then us help them make the decision? Or we, like, I'm trying to figure out how far we want to go in this, or just, if it's more about just, I mean, we obviously want to, it's good for us to know who's, you know, coming in to different positions. Like, that's what it's about, right? Like, and I'm just trying to.
Specifically, paragraph 3 is what it's about. The township supervisor will determine whether the applicant qualifies for the posted position based on education, previous experience, relevant skill sets, and the township administrator's recommendations. Nothing about the board in there. The township supervisor will have the discretion to hire any applicant for township employee position without prior board approval. That's what's at issue. Paragraph 3 of this discretionary policy, which I move at this time to vacate. Can we have a vote on that, please?
Yeah, but if it's are you going to vacate?
I'm moving at this time to vacate the Maine Township hiring discretionary policy that we voted on in December, at the December board meeting, December 27th, yes. You got a second on that?
Yeah, I second it.
Okay, thank you.
So, just to clarify, course, the township highway commissioner and the assessor and the clerk and me as the supervisor of general assistants retain our authority to hire people in
This
those
doesn't,
departments.
yeah, this doesn't say anything about that, so
Okay.
You can't change
They
it.
have
it doesn't affect, it doesn't
Yeah.
affect Pete's department, Susan's department, Amy's department, or general assistants. But Kurt is asked.
And just to clarify too, do I have authority to hire temps if we're going to be without a receptionist, for instance, for a couple of weeks?
All I'm asking, the issue's not before the board. My motion is before the board, it's been seconded. I asked for a vote. Based on the clarification, thank you for clarifying. It only applies to things that you don't have statutory power to do without board, which is hiring GA people apparently. So it does apply to part-time people.
I think that we could interview some temp agencies and the board needs to
Other departments can have it,
that
you know.
could use, but they need it.
Can someone with part-time hours be given extra hours on a temporary basis, or does that affect, like,
It affects the IMRF,
insurance and all that? Okay, I wasn't sure. Or if they're under 20,
Yeah.
I just know if it was an ability to allow people to pick up extra hours. Because I don't want people to be doing extra work and not being compensated, or being asked to do extra work for an extended period of time and having that take away from their existing job, so.
Okay.
All right, do I have to say it a fourth time now?
Okay, we're going to vote on that.
So I think.
Pending motion, may we have a vote on the pending motion?
Roll call,
Please.
and I understand there's, go ahead. Go ahead, roll call.
I make a motion.
I think you already did.
It's already been.
Yeah, it's motion.
Thank you.
And did I clarify, is it for the policy or just for Roman number 3 of the policy?
It's for the policy.
Okay.
Supervisor Diamond?
I'm going to say no, just because I think it's going to create a hardship potentially for the staff for not being able to hire non-department heads as soon as they need them.
Trustee Jones?
Yes, it's basically going back to the way it was prior to this, which worked for many years.
Trustee Horvath?
I'm going to abstain from this one.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so now we're at official reports. Susan?
Oh, hi there. If you haven't been home yet, your tax bill will be in the mailbox. So, and it's always 55% of the prior year. The exemptions and appeals that you might have done will be reflected in the second one. And they're saying that there's going to be more timely this time. We'll see. We just kind of finished up our certificate of errors for this last year, and we did over 22,000 in returns of money from last year. So my staff has been worked hard on that. We have a little bit of a problem with our permits are due by the end of January from all the municipalities. We've gotten from one municipality, I'm not going to name any names, but we just received this last week all the way from October. The problem is now that the mainframe went down to put in the permits. We have to put them into the county. We have to code them, and their mainframe went down, and they're due by the end of January 31st. So the problem with that is, if these permits do not get in, then they do not go and reflect in the taxes for next year. So we have a lot of construction and different big ticket items that would have been reflected next year on the tax bill. So that's our situation right now with that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, as many of you know, I just wanted to, many of you are aware that we lost our longtime foreman, Pete Duvalakis, of 27 years to the highway department.
I was lucky enough to know him for 25 years, which is crazy, it's a long time already. But he was the type of guy that you were lucky if you met him, because those kind of people don't come in your life too often. But he's going to be sorely missed, so.
He certainly will be sorely missed, and testament to that was just the amount of people that showed up, not only to his wake, but the funeral as well. I've known him all the way since going back to high school. He always was just a real stand-up guy, good as they come. On a positive note, I would like to say congratulations to our very own Mr. Marty McAlpin over there, who got engaged. I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen you then, or since then, so I just want to say congratulations.
Did you say that? Merry Christmas.
Did you see the picture on Facebook, Marty? I love the picture. Catch that, anybody? I did.
I'm going to have to
Very handsome couple.
That's all.
Marty.
Go ahead.
I don't have much to report, other than wishing everybody Happy New Year. I know it's a couple weeks late, but we're still in January. And to remind you to attend our neighborhood watch meeting next February 7th, Wednesday night at 7 o'clock.
I would like to invite everybody to, I will go hang this up in the lobby. Maine East is having their spring, or well, not spring, winter musical. It's called Something Rotten. It takes place in the time of Shakespeare. It is apparently hilarious. It's going to be February 16th, 17th, and 18th, and then the following weekend, the 23rd and the 24th. So I will put this weekend. There's a QR code if you want to buy tickets.
I was at the watch meeting with Kim. A very interesting issue came up. Kim, if you recall, homeless people, how they're handling it, might touch upon our issue about people who are migrants. And one of the answers I got from the officer was they have no guidance. Remember he said that, as to what to do with homeless people. And so what he did is he used discretion to take them to the hospital. Yeah, there's no shelter. So he took them to the hospital, which I thought was a great idea. But I told him it's very unfortunate you don't have guidance and rules and regulations of what you should do there. You know, imagine a poor police officer, he's got a homeless person, he's got no, my understanding is he has no protocol.
There were no resources.
Yeah, no resources and no protocol, no rules, you know, right? That was pretty much what he said. So I thought that was very interesting. Additional problem for homeless people, another plight, is that even the police don't know what to do with you.
That particular person was a 45-year-old female, and shelters take youth generally.
Yeah, very interesting.
But they didn't have it. They couldn't find one that would receive this individual, and they have a difficult time with men too. And then of course there's warming centers and there's trains from in public places during the day, but in the evening there's no place for them to go. So he said he did take her to the emergency room, the hospital, and then got reprimanded for doing that. So it is a cause for concern.
So if you find anybody sleeping outside the office, employees, maybe ask for police to sit, the policeman came to the aid in this particular case anyway. Didn't know why. That's it, thank you.
I have comments about this mainly news. I know a lot of reports are I can see, but one report is missing. I don't know why you guys missed that report. When it was the Maine Township program and Senator Laura Murphy was there, Mayor Desplain was there, when we gave away the turkey. Although that my program, somebody tried to mess up, but thanks God it goes very well. But I don't know why that program is not reported on this one.
What program was that?
Turkey. It was on the Maine Township board, the sign there, and even on your website. But for some reason that report is missing from this one. So I understand that, but still that it should be on this one. Okay. And if somebody want to do next time, they should announce openly. They say, "Oh, I want to do it." Don't kidnap other people's program. Don't try to do that.
Thank you.
So I have to bring to your attention some events. You see under upcoming events, February 7th, which is Neighborhood Watch, of course.
Where's that, Karen? Or is it usually on the backside?
It's at the bottom.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
And a few things that did get on there, February 13th, I think it is, we're going to have a follow-up on the North Suburban Legal Aid Program. They're going to talk about housing law, and we are continuing to provide legal services in conjunction with them. People can come in here, or they can Zoom in and talk to an attorney regarding various types of law that they might need assistance with. Then, in March, I think we're going to have a couple of events. We hope to, for the first time, have an egg hunt for kids, and that is going to be done with eggs, we think, out in the lawn over here, but we're still in the planning stages. So, also in the planning stages is the sheriff is willing to come back to do a taillight installation day, and maybe, this is just a big maybe, painting catalytic converters, which is something I've been asking them about for some time. Then on April, let's see, the Toy Lobby Day is coming up on April 17th. So if that's something you want to put in your calendar, I know some townships send people down to Springfield, and if that's something you're interested in doing, let me know, or let our administrative staff know about that. And as I mentioned to you, I already got an email from Park Ridge about the parade. Do you want to march in the Park Ridge parade? I should give them a response.
I have to march in a separate parade that day already. So.
All right. Am I getting anyone raising their hand? Should I just say no? Or
Which parade is it?
Memorial Day.
Oh, May. Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, I don't mind.
Can I march with Eddie?
I march with it every year.
I want to march with Eddie. He does good Memorial Day.
I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know, I have to be at the Lake Opeka too, so it's kind of tough to go to both.
Oh, okay. That event
Are
is
you,
good.
is any of the other board members going to?
I mean,
I want to go to your event.
I typically march in that parade, but
If I'm here, I'll go, I just don't know plans to be yet.
All right. Well, let's say yes. Hopefully some of us will be there.
Jim will be there.
Yes, I'll be here.
Jim and I are usually there. And
Yes.
Karen.
I'll be involved.
Yeah, okay, all right, fine. Oh, wait, one other announcement I wanted to put out there, and that is Nader and Jenny working together were able to work with the Wisconsin Surplus online auction, and were able to sell the van. So they earned $7,800. It almost covers the cost of one of those smart boards, but in any event, we were able to make that sale. So I think that's all that I have for
I
announcements.
apologize,
Any
Karen,
other
I have one last
announcements?
thing. I apologize.
Any other, I'm sorry, what?
I have one last thing, I apologize.
Okay.
I forgot to mention. I want to thank Pat and Jessica and Ava for the birthday card. They didn't say I was too old or anything like that, just sent it. I just got it today, so I wanted to say thank you very much. I'm very horrified to admit.
When was your birthday?
No, it's already happened.
Okay.
Well, happy belated
I'll tell you,
birthday.
yeah. They sent me a card that was very nice, so thank you. And it was
Okay,
noted on the calendar.
all right.
That's it, thank you.
Good, I then have a motion to go into closed executive session. The purpose of discussing litigation interests, proper and security procedures, and use of personnel and equipment to respond to actual threatened or reasonably potential dangers of the safety of employees, students, staff, public, or public property. And 3, discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. So I have a motion to go into closed session for those purposes.
Kelly moved.
Oh, okay.
I'll second.
Okay, fine. Maybe roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we are going into closed session right now. We may or may not have some votes in open session after the closed session is over. So thank you very much. We're back in open session now. Richard, do you have what's going? Okay, all right, in our open session, we have possible vote on building security improvements. It doesn't appear as though we are ready to vote on that, so we'll pass that item. We also have possible vote on OEM director position. We have discussed this at length, and we looked over quite a bit of materials that were submitted to us, and I think we have come to a consensus. Do I have a motion to hire Jack Wisniewski as our new OEM director?
Motion to hire Jack Wisniewski as our new OEM director.
Second.
Okay, any further questions or comments about that? Okay, may I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Okay, there's just one other thing I'd like to mention regarding our survey. As you know, the survey had two parts to it. One was regarding, what do you think we can do more for residents?
Yes.
I think was basically what it was, and then the other part. I would like to share in sort of like little bullet points for the staff, what do residents want? And so nothing from the second part, but from the first part.
Do a summary again.
Would you mind?
Sure.
Thank you, you've really taken the labor and
Yeah,
work with
thanks.
this, and I appreciate that. So, I'd like to give them to us as soon as possible, because I think they feel like, oh, we did all
Well,
this
there was a
work,
lot of
filling
good
it out,
suggestions
and now we
on
don't
that.
hear anything.
Right,
So,
okay.
yeah, and I think you can sort of group them too
Yeah.
by similar topics. I
Yeah, I'll
think.
come to it
Okay,
the same
all right,
way.
great, okay, fine. All right, I think that is it, unless anyone would like to bring anything else up for discussion.
Can I very quickly say what I finished what I was going to say, but I didn't say it right there? It was just a suggestion. So something I do, we do at my work is on the Fridays after board meetings, we have something called a coffee clatch. And so it's, there's one in the morning and one in the afternoon, so that whoever's working that day has the ability to come in to whichever one they want. And basically the director just sort of gives them a rundown of what happened at the board meeting, anything that was important, and then anything that the board is doing that sort of will be affecting them, or any changes that are coming up, whether it's, changes to IMRF, or things that happened in like our department meetings, but just sort of for any staff that wants to swing by the meetings and come and get like updates, and it's just sort of a once a month thing, and it's just kind of a nice way to sort of them feel like they know what's going on a little bit. So, I don't know, just a suggestion.
We could, I guess I always feel people could actually come here and
I know.
actually listen to it.
I know.
Or they can hit the button on the website and
But
listen
if
to
they
it.
don't know necessarily what we're talking
I
about,
suppose we
closed
could
sessions or...
do something like that, if people want.
Yeah.
During, or we could even like go down in the boardroom where people are eating their lunch, or some are, and we could do it during, down there, and while people are eating their lunch, they can listen to the exciting activities of the board.
Well, yeah, just replay the video.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Just replay the meeting.
Let's see, tonight it would go 3 hours.
That's what this TVs are for.
In 4G living color.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
For employee nap
Anyone
time,
else
maybe.
want to say anything else? Anything more? Okay, I think we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Okay, we're done.